All right, welcome everybody. This is the first episode of the Y&T and Friends Vinyl Talk, and I have the pleasure as my first guest to have the author of one of my favorite books here, the Y&T album review, Mr. Tim Durling from Tim's Vinyl Confessions. Tim, thank you so much for being on here tonight.
Brian, it's an honor to be your first guest. I really think it's great what you're doing here with, I mean, it was great with the Facebook page, but to take this a step further, the more Y&T content out there, the better, as far as I'm concerned.
I couldn't agree more. And, unfortunately, Tim and I really didn't know each other when he was putting this book together. So unfortunately, I didn't get to participate in this one. However,
when they put their new book, when they put their new album out, I'll have you on it, right?
There you go. But as most of you know, he's got the new book, Sing Me Away, the Night Ranger album review, which I did get to participate in. And it was a pleasure doing that, Tim. And thank you so much for allowing me to do that. So if you don't have either of these books or the other three that Tim have, what are you waiting for? All right. I'll put a link down at the bottom here to Tim's Amazon page there. Definitely pick these books up. They're well worth it. All right. Well, Tim, we're gonna start off this first episode and talk about 1981's their debut on A&M Records, Earthshaker. That would be the one right there.
Yeah, I try to match the face.
There you go. That works.
Yeah.
All right, so I know obviously from reading the book there that your entry point in the Y&T was a little later than that. 1990s 10, but so tell me when you finally discovered the Earthshaker.
So yeah, this is great. I love talking about this because it just brings back so many great memories. So yeah, I did get into Y&T when I saw the Don't Be Afraid of the Dark video. So I bought the 10 album, and actually that wasn't the first one I bought, but I bought everything I could get my hands on, and which was not easy. I'm in Eastern Canada, which never been a stronghold for Y&T. I mean, even I think the Eastern Seaboard of the U.S. was never a big, they never really hit big in that area, as opposed to like California and other parts of the States. But one thing that helped in my learning about the band was also in 1990 when A&M put out the best of 81 to 85. I remember this was kind of what was fun pre-internet and what was aggravating at the same time. But in a case like this, it was fun when you found something you didn't even know was coming out. And so I found this best of, and I bought it. And that's when I found out, number one, that's when I found out what Y&T actually stood for. I didn't know. And then I found out that they had an album called Earthshaker. And there were 4 songs from Rescue Me, Hurricane, and I Believe in You. And obviously I was just at that point when that had come out, I had everything from Black Tiger onward. I'd been able to find that on cassette, but this was my first taste of anything pre-Black Tiger. And obviously the songs are fantastic. And right around that time, I believe it was the same trip into Maine. Not only did I get the best of 81 to 85, but I also happened to find the, I should have got it out, but the Live at the San Francisco Civic home video.
Yep. Of course, I played the heck out of that video.
Yeah, they do some songs, from that album on there. And but I couldn't find the album anywhere. I didn't know what it looked like. I had no idea. I just knew that it, came out in 1981 on A&M. And I remember this would have been like midsummer 1991. I used to read Circus Magazine all the time. And I remember getting an issue of Circus Magazine, and towards the end, towards the back pages of the magazine, there would be order forms where you could send away for import CDs. And it was a place in Connecticut called, I think it was called The Right Choice. And I remember seeing Earthshaker, and I was like, oh, I want to get that. They were just CDs. I had a CD player at this point. I'd only just had a CD player, but I thought, oh, that might be the only way I hear this, because I was still buying cassettes, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought, but I'll get the CD. But I'm thinking, man, I'd never ordered online, and not online, but I'd never sent any away for anything before. So I'm like, is this for real? So I remember a friend of mine, who I also got into Y&T, my buddy John, who's in my Y&T book. Actually, he's in the Night Ranger one too, John Wetmore. But he said, well, we were looking, and he said, oh, they have I guess it wasn't just CDs, but they had Metallica one cassette single, which had the Prince on the B side, which wasn't readily available at the time, and it was like $3.99. So he's like, I'll send away for this. If it doesn't come, I'm only out,
Yeah, $4.
But if it does, we'll know it's legit.
Legit, yeah.
And at that time, it's interesting, because at that time in 1991, our Canadian dollar was actually had some strength to it. I think it was like 81, 82 cents on the US dollar. So we had some buying power. So I think it cost me right around $50 by the time you factored in the exchange rate and shipping and everything. So I sent away for Earthshaker. And I still remember this. I got this. I'd never seen this before. I was like, well, that's weird. They don't have their logo, right? That was one of my first reactions.
Yep.
And I looked at the back. Okay, well, that's definitely them.
Right.
And there were a few things that I remember. So this is my original CD that I got. Let me hold this up.
Nice.
This is a Japanese CD. Maybe you've got the same one.
I do have that one as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the other side, of course, is Japanese characters.
Yep.
And I don't have the Obi strip anymore, but I think I've still got the. No, I don't. What the heck happened to the
booklet?
Yeah, oh, you know what? I got smart. I put it inside the tray. I was gonna say, there's no way I'd get rid of that.
No,
I had no idea what most of this stuff said,
Yep.
But it was just so exciting, because I thought, okay, well, this is cool. It looks all official. It's got the A&M logo on it. And, I have to say, not the best translation of the lyrics, but that's fine. I was so happy to have this. And also, before this came out, before I got the CD, Yesterday and Today Live had come out earlier in the summer.
Oh, okay.
Metal Blade. That was the first time I'd heard Squeeze, the song. So I'd actually heard half of this album, but didn't matter. First time I got to hear Hungry for Rock and Shake It Loose and Knock You Out and Let Me Go. And it was, I listened to this all the time. Like, this was just, this was actually the first CD I ever got without first owning it on cassette, because I just could not find it at that time. I simply could not find it.
Yeah.
So I go back a long ways with this CD, and of course that opened up the door to me ordering all kinds of stuff, via the mail.
Sure. But
yeah, great memories attached to getting this, and then of course with the advent of the internet, I was able to get some more formats, which I'm sure we'll talk about.
Yeah. Well, for me, my entry point in the Y&T was 1983 when I saw the Mean Streak video, and I can't remember if it was on MTV or there was a network called USA Network that had the show called Night Flight.
Yeah, heard about it.
Friday nights, one of those two. And
Friday night videos, or
it was called Night Flight, but it was on Friday night.
That was another show, though, wasn't it?
Yeah. So when I heard that opening riff and that song, I was hooked. I was like, who is this? And I was like, after I heard that, I was like, that next weekend I was at the record store and bought that on cassette, played the heck out of that, and then went to I actually got Black Tiger after that, and to your point, had a hard time finding Earthshaker on cassette. So it was after it was probably 86 or 87 before I actually found Earthshaker.
Yeah.
Played it, and for me, it was kind of a letdown's not the right word, but it was after hearing, Rescue Me and I Believe in You on Open Fire,
Open Fire. Yeah.
and then listening to it on Earthshaker, totally different, right? Not that they're bad, it's just it was like, well, I kind of like the Open Fire better because I mean, live Y&T you can't beat,
And
so
the first version of something you hear is usually the definitive version, right?
yeah.
So I was, in my case, I think I got Open Fire around the same time I got the best of as well. So, but I did hear the studio versions first. But I heard
which
them
would have been
very,
nice.
very close together, right? So, but
Yeah.
you're right. I mean, Dave soloing and,
Yeah.
the vocal ad libs, it's different.
Very different. So, well, with that, we all know about A&M and Y&T, not the best promoters of the band, and in the U.S. There was really only one single, and that was a 12-inch single
Okay.
for "Rescue Me" that went out to radio stations only.
Now, see, I've got a few Y&T singles like that, but not Rescue Me.
Yeah, so I can show here.
Yeah, they all
See,
kind of
Rescue Me,
look the same.
and it was backed by Dirty Girl.
Yeah.
On there. But that was the only US. So I mean they did get Rescue Me out to radio stations, I guess, but that was the only single with that.
And not really even a single, right? Because there was no
right, yeah, there wasn't a
single.
retail single, it was a radio
And
single.
as I talk about in my book, this is 1981. Why was there no video?
Yeah.
There should have been a video. I rail about that endlessly.
It took them 2 albums. They went through 2 albums with those videos.
It makes me so it's so aggravating because if you know anything about the beginning days of MTV, they were desperate for videos. They'd have played it. They'd have played.
Yeah, I was there to day one when MTV debuted.
They played all kinds of A&M artists too.
And because they had Sticks on there. They had
Sticks, 38 Special, and Split Ends and Squeeze.
Yep.
And
oh yeah, absolutely. And saw those same videos over and over and over again.
So if they'd have done just a little soundstage video for Rescue Me, that song could have been a top 40 single. Now, my understanding is in the Bay Area, it's got tons of radio.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
I have a single of Rescue Me, and you've probably got it too. 45. Oh, no, it's different. I can tell already it's different. Yeah, this one.
Yep, the one from Spain.
This is from Spain. Yeah,
yep.
And it's got the lyrics on the back, and it's backed with Shake It Loose, which
that's it.
One of my favorite. That's one of my favorite deep cuts from Y&T is Shake It Loose. And I find things like this interesting, like A&M in Spain at this time anyway was distributed by CBS.
Yes.
So that's interesting because you think of them as a major label, but obviously not all over the world, right? They didn't have
Yeah, and the actually the UK single had looks a little similar, the picture there.
Yeah. That's
this
cool.
This was also distributed by CBS. This is actually printed in Holland.
Okay.
And this one's actually also backed with Shake It Loose there on that familiar A&M looking label there.
At the time, yeah. And the only other things I have from Earthshake, I've got 2 UK, I think they're both from the UK, 12-inch singles. One has a cover, one really doesn't.
On a 12-inch?
Yeah. So, yeah, we
actually
both
2 12 inches, right?
Yeah, I Believe in You, and then it's reversed on the other side.
Yeah,
red and white and red, and Out and Out Metal from San Francisco from Sounds Magazine. The UK were they took to Y&T, and the label over there seemed to champion them too, because most of
Yeah.
my Y&T singles are from the UK, or at least
Absolutely.
Europe. And then
And
the
you
other
probably have
one
this
is
one here as well.
yeah, Dirty Girl,
Yep.
the set, and it's got Knock You Out and Hungry for Rock on the other
Yep.
side. Yeah.
On that familiar A&M label there.
Yeah.
Well, again, yeah, it's like I know I find it interesting, like 12-inch singles, especially kind of a being a for a retail thing, so based instead of the 45s. But I guess they get more tracks on there, so
Yeah,
it's not a bad thing.
They did that a lot in the UK, I noticed.
Yeah. I do have another one here from the UK. It's actually I Believe in You. It's actually a promotional copy.
That's cool.
And Rescue Me on the other side, promotional there. And the last two singles I have are, oops, got that. A couple of Japanese.
Oh yes, yeah.
One has the promotional label that you can see that there's those three kind of boxes there.
Yeah.
Not for sale.
I've always said this. I mean, God bless him in Japan, because I mean, my Y&T, I wouldn't have, like in the early days, most of my Y&T CDs came from Japan.
Yeah, I didn't get any Japanese stuff for quite a while when it came to Y&T. Luckily, found most of that stuff, obviously on cassettes here first in the States, but didn't get Japanese till probably in the 90s.
Well, this would have been when I was just getting into them, but yeah, and it's funny because I didn't have this on vinyl until 2001, and it was one of the first things I think I ever bought off of eBay. And this copy that I've got here is actually from, well, it's printed in Holland, and the sleeve that came with it is just an advertisement for other A&M albums.
Yep, I have that one here too.
And then it's got that label on it, and I have seen a Canadian version of Earthshaker a couple of times out there in the wild, but not very often. But one thing I've never seen, and we were going to talk about this anyway, is a Canadian cassette of Earthshaker.
Yes.
But I don't know if you wanted to get into the cassette versions, but
yeah, let me go through a couple things, and we'll get into the Canadian stuff here real quick. So let me just run through some of the US. So I'm one of those that collects all variants, right?
This is why he's got the Facebook page on this, and I don't, guys.
So start off, obviously, the cover there, but on the back you can see this is a promotional stamp copy.
I've never seen that stamp before. That's cool.
Yeah, there are a couple different ones. That's one of them. And then A&M did use quite a few pressing plants here in the US for this album. I mean, which makes sense, regionally in that. This one here has the X on the bottom of the label there.
Okay.
It is Pittenham, New Jersey. So that's Columbia pressing plant in Pittenham from there. And then, of course, how nerd I am, right? So this is another copy. That's the printing plant X, but no promo stamp.
Yeah, that's fascinating to me, and that's something that really only with the advent of Discogs I've started to notice, like why it's got those little that they're pressed.
Yeah.
The same record is pressed at the same time in different pressing plants.
Yep. So here's the other promotional stamp, which is probably more familiar.
Got that on a few albums.
Yeah. And then that one has the Y pressing plant, which is Terre Haute, Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
So that's RCA plant there in Terre Haute. And then that's it for the promo stamp. So I'll just show the labels here. So next one there is Z, which Z, if I remember, was Santa Maria, California. So out west there, I'm sure they printed quite a bit because it's probably where they sold the most.
I bet you that there's probably more of those floating around than any other.
Yep. And then there's another one here. We have R. Oops, that's upside down. Dropping everything. Try that again. R on the bottom there. So that's RCA in Rockaway, New Jersey.
Okay.
Where that one's from. And then here is the most interesting US pressing, and I'll get your thoughts on this one here if you've seen this or have any thoughts on why this happened. So when I saw this, I thought for sure it was a European version, a European re-release. But this is actually a US re-release.
Yeah.
So this was Electrosound pressing plant in Illinois. So this label, from the best that I can tell, two of the first albums by A&M that had this label on it were Janet Jackson's
Control
and Stain's what's the one with the title that had the turtle?
Dream of the Blue Turtles.
Dream of the Blue Turtles.
That's what I was just going to say. 85, 86 is when they switched to the ones with the records going across. Well, now,
yeah, so obviously this was a repress.
Yeah, I've never.
Why was A&M repressing this in 1986?
Well, if it was in 85, it would have made sense. You know, Summertime Girls getting on the radio, and maybe they thought they better get some more records in stores. To be honest with you, I'm kind of impressed. I didn't think that was a thing.
And why? You know, there's no other albums. There's no Black Tiger. There's
the
no
only one. You know what?
Street.
I think it might have something to do with the fact that, as you said, Earthshaker seemed to be the hardest one to get. So maybe they didn't print that many to begin with, and maybe they just thought they'd better get a few more out there. I don't know. That's fascinating.
Yeah, no,
I only know
that really get me going is trying to dig into.
Yeah, I only know of one. I remember being surprised when I saw this because, of course, I'm up here in Canada, and they reprinted Mean Streak.
Yes,
that's the only one that I knew of. So I'd never seen that reissue.
Well, I actually I've been missing that one. I have that one coming.
Yeah,
actually, that
I could tell because of the serial number on it. Well, that's a reissue.
Yeah,
it's got the 69,000 series.
Yep. So yeah, no, I was fascinated when I saw that. So speaking of Canada, there's your Canadian label with unfortunately it's got a little stamp on there, but
yeah. And I'm just guessing there's probably only one pressing plant. Just because we're, population wise, and it's probably, A&M Records of Canada is in Scarborough, Ontario. So that doesn't necessarily mean that's where they printed them, but I'm guessing it probably was.
So what about the cassette?
Well, so this is really cool because, like I said, in 1990, I had everything from Black Tiger on. That's what I could find. It wasn't until 2006. Now, I was a very active member on the Y&T fan forum back in 2003. Like when I first got a home computer, that was one of the first destinations I went to. Did you ever go on there and post?
Very few. I can't remember what my name was.
I'll tell you right now, my username was Canuck.
Yeah,
I think there was like me, and I think there might have been two other Canadians on there.
Yeah, because that was like with that and like the KISS chat group and stuff like that. I would do it for a little while, and then for whatever reason, I just stopped.
I did it steady for I'd say about 6 or 7 years. But my point being is the only time I ever met face to face one of the forum members on there was a guy by the name of Eric Tweedy. He happened to be on business in Fredericton, which is the capital city of New Brunswick, which is my home province. And it's also like 45-minute drive from where I live. So I went down and met him in a mall, and he had a spare Earthshaker cassette. So even though, I'd bought the CD and I had the vinyl at this point, I still wanted the cassette. And that was so cool.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when you collect these cassettes, a lot of times you already know what they're going to look like.
Yep.
Except for the fact that for some reason, Black Tiger, the band name, takes up the whole width of the spine, and the title is to its right. It's the only one like that.
You know what? I'm looking back here, and you are absolutely correct.
But yeah, the A&M cassettes had such a unique look, and of course they got the embossed on them.
Yep.
And it looked like this.
Yeah, they're all the same, all the way to.
But Black Tiger, for some reason, it looks a little bit different. But yeah, it was really cool to get this. But I've never seen a Canadian cassette of this. And I mean, if they pressed it on vinyl, I've got no reason to think they wouldn't have made it on cassette. So I've got a couple samples here of things, because I'm all about formats, right?
Yep.
If they did, or if somebody was looking for Earthshaker on cassette in Canada, well, first of all, if I see it first, you're not going to get it. But it would look something like this. So this is Bryan Adams, You Want It, You Got It, his second album from 1981, also on A&M. So this is what it looks like on the side. You can see what the Y looks like, right?
Yeah.
And there's the back. And there's the cassette itself. So
yeah, the black.
If there's an Earthshaker cassette, let me see now. Oh, wow. So the Earthshaker catalog number is 4867. The Bryan Adams catalog number is 4864. So they must have come out right around the same time.
Yeah.
So if there's a Canadian cassette of Earthshaker, it would probably look like that. Now, the other thing that I've long wondered about, because everybody knows I'm the 8-track guy.
Yeah, there we go.
I was fortunate enough to find the first two, the Yesterday and Today albums, on 8-track on London Records, two of my prized possessions. But A&M were still making 8-tracks for retail sale in 1981 and 1982. I've seen 38 Special. I just know that they still might see 6 ones. I know that they make them. So if there is a U.S. retail 8-track of Earthshaker, probably looks like this. This is Nazareth's live album, Snaz, from 1981. And so you'd have the cover, and then you'd have the band name and the title here. And there's the spine, and then there's the back. And it might even come in a fancy A&M slipcase. I don't know if this came with this or not originally.
Right, but makes sense that it would.
But so that's fascinating to me, because they didn't know at this time that Y&T wasn't going to take off, right? And if it was still standard procedure to put albums out on 8-track, then why haven't we seen any, other than the fact that there would just be so few of them?
Yeah.
But wouldn't you think people like us, combing the internet,
would have found one by now?
Don't you think one would have surfaced by now? Unless it was, you look at it and you go, that's too perfect, that's a fake. You know what I mean? I have to wonder about that. But at the same time, once we get over to the Record Club only 8-tracks, they still had A&M 8, artists on those. You'd think that, well, In Rock We Trust, maybe that was a big seller for them. I don't know, but it's one of those things that someone says, do you have all the Y&T 8-tracks? That's one that falls into the category of, as far as I know.
I know. Yeah, well, you're one up on me, because I don't have the debut, but I do have Struck Down on 8-track. So I'm still on the hunt for the debut.
What took me a long time is to find the first one on cassette. I actually had a harder time with that.
Yeah, no, and I'm still looking for that too. I've got Struck
Down.
We're also talking
in both of those cases, we're talking about one issue. There were never any reprints.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we're getting off topic. We're talking about Earthshaker.
No, we're good. We're good. So yeah, I got a few more here to show around the world. So this one is the full length album from Spain. So really doesn't look in much different than the US or UK releases in there.
I see that it's the printing is smaller and closer together, which makes sense because that's what the Rescue Me single looks like from Spain.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. So there is that one. Now these let's see. This one, no, that's this one and this one. So again, this is where I kind of nerd out here a little bit.
This is great.
So this is from my Kiss vinyl collecting. So anybody that collects Kiss vinyl and is on any of those sites where they talk Kiss vinyl, then you know all about this. So if you see, so if you look at the bottom there where it says produced by,
yeah.
All right, so it's all on one line, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So here, same album, same pressing.
It's on 2 lines.
It's on 2 lines.
You know, it's refreshing
variant.
to know that I'm not the only person that notices things like that.
So, yep. So again, nerding out there.
That makes it unique.
So those are both UK.
Yeah. Now, would they have different pressing plants over there, you think?
Probably. So
that might explain it.
It's probably what happened. Absolutely what happened there. This is another one from UK. So like, some of these are probably UK proper, and then, some might be Holland, some might be Germany. The LC on the side is probably a German one. So, just another UK. It says pretty clearly up there, just made in the UK.
Yeah.
On there on that one. And then the last 2 that I have are the 2 Japanese pressings. So first one here is the promo with the red up top there. And then the Obi on the side here.
I've never seen a clear Obi strip before. That is really cool.
Yeah, so on the back there, that Obi strip. And then of course inside, as we all know, the Japanese. So this one really is just a 2-sider. So you've got the Japanese lyrics on one side and the English version on the other side. And it has the on the bottom there, it's got the label number, the AMP number.
Yeah.
On the bottom there to correspond. And then we have the label. Again, they all have that A&M, familiar A&M there. And then you can see the 3 kind of box there that's just not for sale. Promotional copy. And then the last one has this has the Obi there, but it also had this red strip, which translates to Y&T Records. So not exactly sure why. Usually when it had something like that, that means there was something included in it. Because if you look at like Black Tiger, one of the versions had a sticker with it, one of those Mylar stickers.
Yeah.
On there. And I can't remember offhand which other one had some extra stuff, but as far as I know, and as long as I've been searching, this one did not have any extra material. So I think it was just a promotional band that they put on there for whatever reason. So, and again, just that A&M label. And again, the sheet inside is just the front and back of the lyrics. Nothing too exciting there. But all in all, there are, as far as I know, 16 unique, what I call unique, whether it be label variants or country pressings of on vinyl for Earthshaker worldwide. So if anybody out there has anything else, I would love to see it. Right? You know, tell me about it down in the comments. Love to see it. Always looking for different things there. So
then we have I've got another CD here, and you probably do. You probably got a couple.
Let's see.
Well, so finally in 2005, and like I said, I was very active on Y&T's forum. They finally got the rights to do their own reissues through Universal. And Mean Streak and Black Tiger were the first two. Then they did In Rock We Trust and Earthshaker. So I had to get them, you know.
Oh, yeah.
It says Universal Music Special Markets. So I ordered those directly from, you know,
the website, band website. Yeah.
Support the band, you know. So it's got that, but it also has this kind of a cool, never saw this before, you know, that picture.
Yeah.
And credits written over top of it. But my favorite parts of these were the reminiscences from the band members. And so this one's got Phil and Dave and Joey. Leonard must have left by this point. But some cool stories about, you know, things that I would never have known. You know, I remember seeing in the credits they thank Maze. Well, I didn't know what that meant, but Dave talks about when they were recording "Hungry for Rock." Of course, there's that chant at the end. Well, Maze is an R&B band, but they happened to be down the next studio recording, so they had them all come in and shout "Hungry for Rock." That was one thing I didn't know about. I didn't know that Joey Alves took the first half of the solo on "Hungry for Rock." Just different things like that were cool. And I think, and I don't have the Rock Candy version of this, but I think they modeled it much after these mid-2000s reissues. I'm not 100% sure.
I have both of those. I do have the Rock Candy over there as well on there. But that one there that the band did, the really the best part about that and the other CDs that they did is they got the original masters out.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, and what was it, like 2 years later? I think it was 2008 when the big Universal fire happened.
Yes.
So yeah,
I have a feeling we'll be talking about that here soon.
Oh yeah. I mean, they sound good, but and I know that a lot of people, you know, not everybody does imports. And for a lot of people, this was the first time they had these albums on CD. So, you know, my only regret is that they stopped. I don't know why they didn't do Open Fire and Down for the Count, but hey.
Yeah.
But, you know, they probably did the albums that they play the most songs from.
Right. Yeah, the interview that I heard with Dave about it took them some time to go through those, you know, to do it, because he definitely wanted to do it right. So I think they kind of wanted to. They might have plans to do the others, but they really wanted to do those core albums, you know, and get those available and out there. And then, you know, probably just didn't have the time or a chance after that to do the rest.
You know, the crazy thing about it is that they recorded for 3 different, you know, major labels for the first part of their career. And now all of those labels Universal owns.
They do, except again, now I'm going off of you know, a 2 or 3 year old information as best as I could find, that I do believe that the London stuff got sold off.
Oh.
So because there is a release that came out last year from Sun King Records.
Mm-hmm.
Of the debut. They released it on vinyl, and they don't credit Universal.
That's interesting. Well, I do know that, like, for bigger artists, Polygram originally had the rights to the London stuff, but
Yeah, because Jill talked about when they were getting the licensing for the documentary.
Mhm.
You know, they were going through Universal, and when they were trying to do the early stuff off those two albums, they found out that actually that Universal told them that well, we don't own those anymore, so they had to go other places. They never said who did, but
Huh.
they did mention that
I
they
didn't
had to
know
go.
that either.
Yeah.
Again, you know, and I'm, you know, one of the biggest Y&T freaks I know. I'm learning stuff. So, folks, this is why Brian started this channel, and this is why you've got to check it out, and why you've got to check out his Facebook page. He's always posting cool stuff. Well, like I said, like I can't tell you the last time I saw something from Y&T I'd never seen before, and I'd never seen that Earthshaker reissue with the mid '80s A&M label on it. That
Yeah,
is
that's
so awesome. It just
interesting piece.
it makes you wonder, you know. It just the
Yep.
records were out there, you know, but they just didn't.
Nope. So, all right, Tim. Any final thoughts on Earthshaker?
It's a fantastic album, and really, if I were to, you know, ranking the Y&T albums is tough. Our buddy John the
Yes,
Music Nut did it not too long ago, but 10's got to be my favorite. That's you know, because that's where I started.
Yep. High up
Earthshaker,
on my list.
if not if Earthshaker isn't second, then it would be third under Mean Streak, because it's just a killer album. And one thing that I love the sound of this album. I love the production on this album. That the David Seif and Robert Shulman. I wish they'd have stuck with it. Honestly, I have to think, and I talk about this in my book. A&M basically they switch producers every album.
Yeah.
Because I think A&M was, well, try this, we'll try this, we'll try that, instead of sticking with a production team and getting used to it. I love the way the drums sound on its thunderous. It's really thick and heavy and bottom end. I'm not the biggest fan of Max Norman's production on Black Tiger. I would have loved to have heard those songs given this treatment. That's just my opinion, but I think they didn't have the name recognition. Max Norman had a name, Tom Allen had a name, you know what I mean? But we'll talk about those, you know. Those are different albums. But that's one thing I've always loved about this album, and one thing that really struck me about listening to those songs for the first time on that best of 81 to 85 was just how different it sounded from their other albums. Didn't sound anything like the other albums.
No, it sounded like 81, like those groups from you know, the 81, 80 hard rock groups, you know, those the ones, you know, came over like from England, and that, you know, it had that kind of sound. I think that's why, part of the reason too, why they were so popular over there in UK. Even the album cover looks like something from the UK.
Yeah, it does. And the other thing I want to add, I thought this was cool because, you know, Y&T are such a band that is beloved all over the world, but it's a cult following, right? Let's be real. So when you do see them out there in the big wide world, you immediately perk up. When I watched VH1's Behind the Music on AC/DC, there is one spot where they're talking and they show a marquee, I'm guessing in the UK, and it's got the AC/DC logo and it's got this logo on it.
Yep.
Like, that stood up to me like a sore thumb. I'm like, oh, wow, that's cool.
Yep, absolutely. Well, real quick for me, you know, Earthshaker is definitely a top four album for me. Probably the highlight for me was you know, I've seen them live I think 11 times now. Most of those though were, you know, in the 2000s until now. I did see them in 84, open for Twisted Sister, and Dokken actually opened the show. So it was Dokken, Y&T, and Twisted Sister.
That's a good bill.
Yeah, that was in Rock We Trust, and then saw him in 85, open for Heart on the Down for the Count tour.
That's right. Yeah, they did open for part of that.
But they in, was it 2017, I think it was, they were celebrating the 35th anniversary of Earthshaker around there, and then one show they did 8 of the 10 songs off of Earthshaker live. Squeeze and what was the other one? Shake Me Loose. Those are the only two that they did not play that
Shake It
night.
Loose always gets the short end of the stick. I love
Right?
that song.
But the fact that they played 8 of those songs in one set
If
was,
they came out and did Knock You Out, Let Me
Yep.
Go. Yeah,
yeah,
that's cool. Young and Tough.
yeah, it was awesome. So, and those songs, all those songs live, just are amazing. So,
Yeah.
But hey, Tim, again, I just want to thank you so much for being the guinea pig, so to speak, and
hey, my
first
pleasure.
one on this episode. You know, I thought you were a good choice for me to talk Y&T. Again, if you don't have this book and you like Y&T, you need to get it. This is a great book talking about each track from each album in the Y&T catalog. Tim, you just do a great job with these books, and you know, from a bunch of us out here, you know, thank you for doing that. And I know you got some more in the works, so
I do.
Definitely
You know, the
look
Y&T
forward
one
to
though
that.
continues to be far and away my biggest selling book.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, and
That
I
is
still
great.
think it's the only one. It's the only book on Y&T.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
I'd love for Dave to put out an official one. That'd be great. But until then, there is one.
There is one, and yep, you did it. So, all right, Tim. Thanks again. Thanks, guys, for watching. Please like and subscribe below, and be on the lookout for more guests and more Y&T vinyl talk. So, have a good night.